Hi, so here we are, step 2. The first stage of this now is on Zoom with the watercolour portraiture group. And I wanted to do a little bit more to the painting to try and kind of, sorry, this is Archie.
Hello.
And I'm Anya. Yeah, so lovely, yeah. So we've got the side profile. So the angles that I'm looking at Archie from is this. If you're on the course, you'll have the photograph from my angle. But I was keen to kind of have another look at positioning the ear, which I think needs to be further forward. Yeah. How are you feeling there, Archie? Are you settled? Is your back okay?
Good. Do you want me to be straighter?
I think a little bit.
I think
yeah.
It
feels like
my shoulders are kind of rounded forward. So.
Yeah, your shoulders are good. It was more so that it was more that I felt that maybe your chin was less lifted. Yeah.
Less lifted.
Yeah, so dropped a tiny bit. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Brilliant model. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's great. So now what I'm focusing on is, I think so far anyway, is to try and capture something of the ear. So I need to lift off there because the ear is catching the light now. It's really nice. And then I want to kind of figure out what's happening at the back of the head a little bit better. So I'm happy enough with the position of the features in the front of the face. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more attention given now to the structure of the head, really. Okay, so I'm kind of looking over and back just to be clear. Yeah, that's good. Okay, brilliant. Yeah. And sometimes you find that when you look at your painting and look back to the model, that you might find that there's a couple of things that you want to adjust straight away. Like sometimes when you get back into the painting, there'll be things that you notice that you maybe didn't notice before. Let's see. I wonder, Archie, if you could move ever so slightly to your left. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, brilliant. That's exactly it. Fantastic. Is it? Okay. Yeah, so, and the thing that I noticed when I came upon this for the first time again today was just, if I turn on the fucking mic I have, the thing that I noticed was that I wanted to move the mouth forward a little of the nose. Seems like the corner of the mouth doesn't sit back quite as far as I had it. So it's kind of handy to come in and have a couple of small jobs to do like that, you know, just as a way of entering back into the looking. Okay, that'll do for now, I think. Yeah, and even actually the edge of the lip there, just lift that off again, I think, because it really is catching the light and probably more effective for it to be open than have an edge around it. Okay. And now I'm going to use the biggest of the cheaper brushes, and this will allow me to lift off a section within which the ear is going to sit. So I'm just figuring out the height of the ear in relation to the height of the nose, and how far down the lobe is in relation to the mouth. Yeah, and then how much space there is between the front of the face and the front of the cheekbone there, and the span of shadow that sits between the cheekbone and the ear. And that makes me feel like I can bring the ear forward a little bit more. No, it's as high as, okay. Yeah. So I'll just lift off, I think, because really there's no point in trying to put in detailed dark and light for the ear. I just want to lift off the space within which it's going to sit, and I can come back when the paper is dry then and make something a bit more clear happen there. Just getting paving the way, I suppose, creating a space where it is helpful. I don't have to fully decide exactly where the edges are, but it's kind of useful for me to know that it does sit significantly further forward than I had it yesterday, actually. And that will, in turn, I think, change the space of head behind. Let's see now. So the width there, there. The back of the neck is maybe sitting about here now. Let's see. It's back from the ear. And then there's the curve here. Curve there. And I think the ear's still going to sit forward, even a little bit more than I have it already. Yeah, can go further forward again. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, and then I might lift that off because I don't know if I want the neck going back all that far. Okay. Something to think about that. Let's see now about the front of the neck. I think I could lift that little bit of dark that's there because it's setting in stone too clearly what's happening at the edge of the neck. I think I want to let it be a little bit freer there for now. Yeah, maybe a touch of burnt sienna now to do some bit of some kind of shading. So that's the burnt sienna there. I feel like there's room for that colour to come in now, something kind of warm where the dark changes to light here. And every so often, Archie, I'll check in. Alarm now. Oh, I've got my phone, yeah. I'll just set the alarm there for maybe 15 more minutes. Would that be okay with you? That'll bring us up to past. You're great, yeah. You're a very, very good model. You're sitting beautifully. Yeah. Yeah, just right. Okay. So I was working with the burnt sienna there. I might just say a few things about if you're getting somebody to sit for you, a few things that you might want to say to them. Well, I guess for yourself too, it would be helpful to have a position where you've got natural light falling on the face, and something dark behind is helpful, like the curtain here is kind of helpful, and having the vertical of the window frame is quite helpful too, because I can see how much does the edge of the face veer off the vertical of the window frame there. And then you want your model to be settled in themselves and relaxed and kind of committed to it as well, so you might need to pay them and ask them not to have music on and stuff like that. It's just, it seems to me that it's a kind of an act of, there's something about it that feels like it's more than just sitting like a statue. Although that's a very helpful part, for the person to sit still is great. But it's hard if it's a member of the family and stuff like that, I think, to kind of sorry? Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to use the ultramarine blue mixed with the burnt sienna. I suppose the main thing really with a model is that you don't want to have to be worrying about them. You want to feel like they're settled and happy, and you can just get on with the job, that you don't have to be tending to them, although, make sure that they can communicate and that they're comfortable and everything like that. Okay, so using the ultramarine blue in with the burnt sienna gives me a colour that's a little bit darker now. and that can occupy that space there. That's pretty much one general shadow shape where the light stops on the cheekbone and it starts, and the shadow starts at the back of the cheekbone there. And then the lobe of the ear comes down as far as the corner of the mouth, the dark at the corner of the mouth there. And I'm going to push it forward a little bit, this dark colour behind it. Yeah, okay. And regularly standing back really does give you a fresh perspective every time, and it helps you to know what's really needing to be done there. Okay. Back of the neck. Also quite dark. I'm going to use the big brush again now to see about establishing the crown of the head again and deciding what needs to happen there. I might even consider things like how many ears would you fill in before you get to the top of it? That'd be helpful as well. Just using some alizarin crimson in the mix. Oh, I put that in there actually. I think I might end up lifting off a little bit. It's kind of helpful to be able to kind of push and pull with the shape of things. And what I want to do here is to knock a little bit off that area at the back. And then maybe I can lift some up here. I remember looking at the photo of Archie after the sitting yesterday and feeling that I hadn't got the height of the head very well. Of course, a photograph would be a little bit different from looking, you know, with him live sitting there. Still, I feel like I could do with heightening the top of the head just a little there. Collar cone. There's a nice kind of a blondie bit of hair at the front of around the temple there. It's a little bit lighter. Might be a way of distinguishing the skin from the hair area. And some little bit of lemon yellow there. And you'll kind of find yourself getting into the flow of things. You just keep the faith like with it and do your best to get into a bit of a routine, you know, a bit of a rhythm, I suppose. And generally kicks in at some stage. You feel like, okay, a little bit steadier. It does take showing up. You know, there's something about needing to actually be willing to take action on the marks, even when you're not completely convinced that you know where it needs to be. Just get my kitchen paper. Yeah, I feel happier with the location of the head. It's good that I can see in the mirror as well, actually. That's good. When you look at your painting in the mirror, it really reveals what it is that needs to be shifted, if anything. A bit more. Yeah. I mean, there'll be slight each time you come back. There'll be small little shifts, like even in clothing, or that's really good. It's okay. You kind of just it keeps things alive, really. So there may be some little shifts to happen there where the collar meets the back of the neck. Actually, you've got a straighter back today. It's good. There. And then the burnt sienna will be a good colour to describe, I think, the back of the neck extending up from the skirt. Hmm. Yeah. I think I want to do something a bit more substantial in the shoulder there now. So I'm just mixing up a fairly thick consistency here, like Indian ink almost, of the dark brown and the dark blue together. And in my case, it's ultramarine blue and Van Dyke brown. And I'm just following the seam of the t-shirt here, because that seems to be where it changes from light to dark, along the line of where the seam is sitting on the shoulder there. And you could say that it's almost like a triangle of dark with a flat top on it, but a triangle of dark back here, where the seam stops and where the back of the shoulder stops, and the collar on the top of the triangle there. Just helps as best you can to find geometry. Your tummy's rumbling, is it? You're starving. Okay. I know sometimes my stomach rumbles when I'm not really that hungry at all. I feel like I put too many splashes on there, so I'm just lifting off some of those at the back. I didn't want them to be distracting. Okay. Run down there as well, this diagonal. Just kind of teasing, I think. Be really literal with all the wrinkles in the t-shirt or anything, but to put something of the direction of them in so that you can capture something of the cross section of the body underneath. Finding the three-dimensional form there. Wrinkle over there in that shoulder too. again, I don't know if it helps to have an awful lot of information on that side, so I might just, sorry, go wet there, sorry. Just leave that. Yeah, there's 2 minutes to the break now, so. Didn't I? Try and hold up the palette like a shield, but sometimes it's not big enough. I'm just mixing a bit more of that dark colour as I stand back, and I feel like there's a little bit more could happen down here with that dark. Putting a touch more brown into it now, because as soon as you deepen the tone in one area of the painting, it's helpful then to half close your eyes and see, okay, now where is there another tone that's similar to that dark that I've just used? You do want everything to feel like it's coming along together. At least I do in this instance. Sometimes I suppose there is room for changing. You know, if you want there to be a focus on a particular area, you might choose not to make the hair, for example, as dark as the t-shirt, whatever. But it would be an active choice, like to go against what's there. Whereas for now, I want to stay with what's here and just continue being curious as to what is it that's happening here? How can I explain where the light is falling on this head and the best color to use, and just to kind of do my best to respond to what's here truthfully as I can. I'm just going to turn this upside down because I want the runs to go in a different direction, maybe diagonally actually. And it could be that I might change the size and shape of the head again, but for now I think moving in the right direction anyway. So that's the break. Thanks very much. Yeah, great time for a break. You're turned on your head here. Okay, I'm going to turn off the video and we'll do a stage 2, I think.